Okay, so now we're going to play with some debugging tools, and you don't even have to have been programming for very long to find these to be useful. So if I've got myself some little code stuff here, so I've just got this kind of pre-written. I'm basically doing something very, very inefficiently. I'm making a matrix and I'm summing the columns, except I'm not doing it right. So I'm just going to run this right quick. I'm just going to run the section. So first of all, to make sure you remember, if you just click this, it'll just run the section. I've put in a section break here. You can already see that there's like a little underliney thing that corresponds to that, that says basically it doesn't like what I'm doing. I need to pre-allocate for speed, and this is what I'm doing on purpose. I'm unpre-allocating for speed. Same thing here, and then I have it further down. I'm doing it again, basically. So whenever I'm playing around, I'm going to run this and just kind of show you how I can deal with the fact that this is yucky. Okay, so I've got my variables over here, and I'll show you how I know it's wrong. So here's my matrix. So the first column is 514, so it should add up to 10. And it doesn't, it adds up to 9. And this should be 241, should be 7. And this should be 8, and it's 6. Okay. So without too much trouble, I can realize it's actually adding them up by rows, but let's pretend I didn't know this. So something that I can do is I can come in here and I can see over here on the left where it has like these little, so they fixed this. It used to be like little breakpoints, and they were kind of confusing, but now it says run up to this line and pause. So I know that I'm creating this matrix right because that's just how I've decided to do it. But I'm getting the wrong solution. And you're like, I don't know what any of this is doing. That's okay. That's the fun part about debugging, is you don't even have to necessarily know what's going on. But I'm going to put a pause here. See what happened when I did that? Okay, I can clear it if I wanted somehow. Clear it, clear it, clear it, clear it. How do I clear it? I would like to clear it, please. Section, clear breakpoints, clear breakpoints, clear. Oh, I've already running it. Stop. There. Okay, clear breakpoints. There. So I already hit it. So I can hit here, and that will be where the breakpoint will be. Oh, that's the difference. Well, this is new. Okay, so this means next time I run it, it's going to stop here. If I click here directly, it's like, don't even worry about setting a breakpoint. Just run here immediately. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So here's my matrix. So I want to be adding 4 plus 3 plus 4. Now, why would I use a breakpoint? Is because basically it hasn't run this line yet. And you can tell because, see, it's got this like little line right here. So that line means we're here and we haven't run this next code yet. So sum info was set to 0 up here. So sum info is still 0. Now it says A, that's A, at position 1, 1. And I can tell that that's going to be 4. I don't think I can do, no, I can't do that. So I'm going to go 0 plus 4. And I can either just say continue, or I can say go just to the very next step. So it goes to the next step, and now I can see that sum info equals 4, because it was 0 plus 4. Well, now it's 4, because it's overwritten the value. So 0 plus 4 is now 4. Column sum doesn't exist yet, and it's still going back to the for loop. So now I'm going to go sum info is 4, the previous value, plus 1, comma 2. And I'm like, wait a second. 1 comma 2 is 3, and I just accidentally picked something where I'm going to pick a different one, because look, my row and my column are actually the same. What are the chances of that? Okay, I'm going to try this again. All right, run this section again. Okay, now they're different. Okay, so let's say I continued, so it's going to go around, and it's going to go back to the little for loop. It's going to run this again. So it added 5. Now the next thing I wanted to add is going to be 4. No, I wanted to add 2, but it's going to be 4 because it's going to go 1 comma 2. And I'll be able to tell that because the next answer is going to be 9. So right now it's 5. If I do one step, it's going to say 9. Okay? And so I already know I'm wrong because it's supposed to be 9, or it's supposed to be 7, but it's really showing me 9. And I can continue, and I can step through it. Oh, now I got to column sum, and the column sum of it's telling me the first column sum is 10. I know the first column sum is supposed to be 9, so it's already wrong. So I can tell as I'm kind of watching this that it was going 1, 3, so it was going across instead of going lefty-righty. So it's going lefty-righty instead of uppy-downy. So basically that means I have to do this. And you're like, well, I wouldn't have known that. Well, that's okay, because you're not trying to do this. I was trying to come up with an example to show you, and now if I actually run this, I'll get the right answers. But I'll show you. So I go through the second time now. It's 2, 1. So now it's going down, and it'll be 3, 1. And so whenever I get to the sum information, it should be 8. So it's adding them correctly now. And I should be able to... Okay, so step out would get me out of the current function. Step into it would get me... So I'm just going to continue. Actually, I'll just stop. So I can clear that section break just by clicking on it. And now if I run this, I will get the correct answers that I wanted. Okay? So does that kind of make sense how you might use that? So if you're getting answers that don't make sense, you can pause it and then you can hover and see what those answers are actually turning out to be. Okay, so that's one cool little diagnostic tool. Another one, okay, so this one only works in .m that I want to show you. So run is going to run the whole code in the file. So if I run, or I click run right now, it's going to run this, and this. It'll run everything except I had put a breakpoint there. So, oh, because I have that going on. That's a breakpoint, automatic breakpoint. I'll show you that in a second. But it runs the whole thing. Okay, but then run section just runs the things between the section lines. But there's something called run in time. Now, it's not listed here if you're in a .mlx file. So I have to pull this over to a, what do you call it, a .m file. So I'm just going to do a regular script. So now I've got this regular script here. Okay, so I've already fixed it in this example. So if I go run, or I got to save it as something, I think. So I'll call this add up columns, and I'm going to run and time this code. And it's like amazing. Okay, so okay, so I run and timed this code, sort of. I don't know if you could really even tell what's going on here. It's not formatting for the size of this, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm spending 100% of my time in the file, yes. But if I click here, so the problem is you might look at this and go, oh, look, I can see I'm spending 37% of my time in the CLC clear. No, these numbers are so small, they're garbage, okay? These numbers are garbage. I'm just telling you. So right now it says I'm spending 40% of my time in CLC clear. I'm going to do it again. Now I'm spending 20% of my time in end. Okay, so these numbers are just so small that they mean nothing. So for this to be of any value to us, we need to increase the size. So I'm doing this very inefficiently, and before you're really going to notice this take any amount of time, like even if I make this to be like 10, if I'm using Control Enter just to run the section, it runs immediately, like it's just done. So if I go x equals 5, oops, okay, and then I say run, it's done, okay? So I need to get into some bigger size matrices. So let's say I'm going to do 1,000. I think that's still going to go pretty quick. Yep. I think 10,000 is too fast, or too slow. I think we'll be sitting here a while. So let me go to 3,000, and we might be sitting here a minute. Yes. Okay, so we're actually going to sit here and wait, and I'll pause. Okay, now we're done. So now I'm going to actually run this and time it, and I'm going to see what kind of time my code is actually spending. So if you have code and it's running for a really long time, and you're not sure why, there's this thing called run in time. But it's only good if your code actually takes a minute to run, like this. Do-do-doop, do-do-do-doop. Okay, now you may not have realized, but it actually went from matrix done to column sum done pretty quickly. So that means that the other half of my code might not be really good. But you can see this is 9 seconds, and it looks like I'm spending 90% of my time in the randi function, just creating my random matrix. And because of what I know about programming, that makes sense. This will get worse if I do this. I'll just pause the video so you don't have to watch me do it, but here we go. Okay, so that took 45.5 seconds. It felt a lot longer than that. So I'm gonna just write this down. So 49.5 seconds. And these are, I don't know if they're real seconds. They're like computer seconds, and I forget. There's some kind of reason that they're not the same, but you have to go talk to someone who pays attention to those things. And again, now you see I'm spending, still like basically all of my time. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, that's weird. I'm spending all of my time in item columns, okay. And I'm still spending 47% or 47 seconds, so 95% of my time in that randi. So it seems like if I could figure out a way to do that faster, I could, be awesome and save myself a lot of time. Okay, so as a reminder, that took me 49.5 seconds. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm using randi, so I'm going to go help randi. I could also do doc randi. I could also do, if I can't remember what random is, I could be like, what is it? Oh, I can't remember. I think it's like, hold on, I can do this. Look for random. Oh yeah, that works. Okay, there's also look for. I always forget that look for exists. Tells me all these. Oh wow, those are all the things I can do with random. Anyway, I want to play with randi, and eventually I get good at realizing what this is saying. And it says that I don't like this very much, so I'm gonna try doc randi. I could also just click the documentation, and the documentation is gonna pull this up, and randi max n returns an n by n matrix of random numbers drawn from 1 to I max. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I want numbers from, rather than doing this whole thing here, does that make sense? So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of this. I'm going to use Control R to automatically comment them, or you can just right click and comment them. And I already had it written, but I just wanted to show how to find it. Up to a random number from 1 to 5 of the size 5,000. And I'm going to show you how much more fabulously this runs. Okay, so remember it took me like 49 seconds last time. It's already done. Now the big holdup is adding up those columns, okay? But adding up the columns only took 2.4 seconds, so isn't that kind of amazing? So the randi doesn't take hardly any time at all. It's 10% of the time. But comparatively, that is nothing. So this is just really cool. By the way, this is generally a lot of times how I can tell whenever you turn in code that was written by ChatGPT, because ChatGPT will do this instead of this. They're just, or whenever you can tell, how about this? Not all ChatGPT does this, but also people who don't know how to program well in Matlab will spend all of their time doing this when instead they could just do that. Okay, now similarly, for adding up all of the columns in a matrix, there's actually, instead of doing all of this, you can actually just write, give me the sum of A. So, but let's see how far up we can go before this actually starts to take a while. So let's go up to 10,000. Okay, that was still pretty quick. Let's go 50,000. Doop-de-de-doo. Okay, even the randi is taking a while. Okay, I don't want to wait, so I'm going to hit stop. I could also hit Control C. Maybe. Will you let me stop? Maybe. Oh, x equals 5? No. Oh, it's really in there. It's probably just running this one line right now, and so when it stops running that line, it'll come out. But I really made it mad, so just gonna have to be patient and wait for it to finish running this line, and then it will get out of there. There we go. Okay, I would like you to stop. Okay, y equals 5. There we go. Okay, now we're back to normal. All right, I'm actually going to go ahead and run that, and I'm going to go do something else. But I wanted to show you, because it's kind of weird, because Control-C usually works, but it only works whenever it's done with that line. So it was stuck on this line, so Control-C didn't get me out of it. So I'm going to run and time this, because I think that's going to be a nice, big, stupid number. I might pull it down just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to run this big, stupid number, and then I'll pause it and come back. Okay, so that took about 63 seconds, but remember that this was, how many columns did I do on this guy? This was 30,000 columns. So with the new randi function, 30,000 columns, or 30,000 size, or whatever, took me about 62 seconds. All right, so let's go see where I spent most of my time there. In the add up columns, doop-de-doop-de-doo. Okay, so I spent 10 seconds in rand I and about 50 seconds doing everything else. And again, it's saying that I spent 25 seconds on the end, on 60, so basically lines 16 and 17. I don't know exactly why it's thinking this, that I spent that much time on end. I think there's just something else obviously going on, but I think if I fix the one line, then all of this will go down. So instead of having this giant for loop that does this, that's obviously taking forever, I'm going to fix that. Okay, so we noticed that this took me 62-ish, 62? I already forgot what the number was. 62-ish seconds. Yeah, 63 seconds. I'll do that. Okay, so now we're going to do it where I replace it with the, instead of doing this big old for loop, or double for loop, I'm going to use the built-in, and I'm going to get the same answer. So first of all, let me prove to you I'm going to get the same answer. So it's just, whoa. So look. Oh, no, I got to show you. If I do A and sum A. Okay, so look right here, I'll prove you I got the same answer. So I got 8, 10, 12, 7. Okay, so clearly the right answer. I mean, it's not a really good proof. It's a trust me bro proof, but it's fine. Okay, so trust me bro, it works, and I'm going to show 30,000, and we're going to run this right quick with the run and time. It's taking a little bit of time for that rand I, so we expect that to take about 10 seconds. I'm going to be really positive and not pause the video. Be super duper hopeful that it's going to happen so fast, it's going to be amazing. It did! Look at that! Okay, so now we are back to the point. Oh, thank you. Lines that take. Why are you upset at me? Add up columns. Okay, I'm sorry, honey. Whatever I did to make you upset, I'm going to go back and try this again. Okay. I don't know why I did that. I'll try again. Okay, now it's popping back up. That took 10 seconds. There. I must have just not had it closed before. Now it's again spending the majority of its time on the rand I, but it can do it way, way, way faster. And now you see everything else is just basically small. So I'm not even paying attention to why is it spending this much time displaying a matrix done. It's really not. It's just that. So with the new sum function, 30,000 took me 10 seconds. So all that to say, as we're learning MATLAB stuff, if you've never programmed in MATLAB before, you might be like, I already know how to do for loops. I don't need to do this. No, no, no. You need to learn how to do stuff because MATLAB has been optimized to work with matrices. So if you learn how to do things like the MATLAB way, things are going to go really, really fast. So it's really awesome. One more really quick thing I wanted to show you, and it's at the end, and so you're probably not here anymore. But you can do this thing with manual debugging for, I'm going to go ahead and push this up so you can see a little bit better. So see, check this out. So there's this thing that you can do if you don't like using this, this thingy that we showed you a second ago. You can also use something called keyboard. So sometimes you've got a really big chunk of code, and like maybe a long time ago we did this rate as like 25%. But if you just multiply it, but like then you're getting, wait, I did do that. Hold on, let me stop. Clear, exit, db, cont. Okay, let me take that off. So basically I have this rate. I'm going to take this away for a second. And I've got 1/4 of 60 is 1500. Well, clearly I just need to divide by 100, but let's just pretend I forgot what's going on. So I'm like, what is going on here? What is it using for the rate? And I can't find it, and I can't find it in the debugging tool. The other way isn't working. I can use this thing called keyboard, where when it gets to this line, it gives me keyboard control. So I can actually go look in the workspace, or I can just type the word rate. It'll tell me the rate, and I can actually change the rate. I can even just do that. I can just change it to 0.25, or I could have done rate equals rate divided by 100. And so I can actually physically change the number. So that's something you can't do in the other method that you can do with the keyboard method, is you can actually change the values as you go. And then you go, hello, there's my cuckoo clock, dbcont. So debugging continue. So continue in the debugging or out of a debugging mode. And then it gives me 1/4 of 60 is 15. And then I can go, okay, I know what I did. So now I need to either go over here or do rate divided by 100 or something like that. Okay, so that's just a little neat trick that I always forget exists, and it's kind of fun. So hopefully you like that.